when I was doing this investigation of Netaji's death as part of Hindustan Times in 2000, and people everywhere I went, people used to tell me about Lal Bahadur Shastri. So much so that even Lal Bahadur Shastriji's family, used to allege that, and they told me in private and others that this case of Lal Bahadur Shastriji's death is linked to Subhash Bose's case. So in a manner of speaking, that Lal Bahadur Shastri case is deemed to be a part of the Netaji case. Now, Netaji is a larger story, and Shastriji issue is a part of it. So this was the reason I was inclined to do some research about it, and I did write something. But unlike Netaji case, there's nothing here. There's no document declassified. Netaji left his imprints all over the world, and here so many documents were declassified. Government was under pressure. Under pressure, they were forced to form a commission or committee. So there was a lot of data available from Netaji, but Shastriji was virtually nothing. Not even a single book was ever written about this. Now the credit for reviving this issue goes to Vivek Agnihotriji. Agnihotriji contacted me because I had written some articles about Lal Bahadur Shastri's case, and anyone could make out that I am talking the most sense in those articles, because I had studied and something about Lal Bahadur Shastriji's case when I was doing the Netaji inquiry. So Agnihotriji and his, he of course we met, and he was thinking of making a film which eventually became known as Tashkent File. And I very happily, in national interest, offered that I will give you all the inputs I have on this issue, and then whatever help I can render by way of making you meet the family members, I did, which I did. I'm very happy and glad. And I was thinking, if the movie is going to be out now, and the case is going to be flagged before people of India, it's a pity that nobody has done a book on this case. So I would try and attempt and do a book. So after this thing was over with Agnihotriji, I thought when the movie comes out, I should. So I did my inquiry, and when the movie came out, I came up with a book, Your Prime Minister is Dead, and which I dare say is the best book, because there's no other book. I mean you would be shocked to know that before me, one person tried, and he tried to come out with a book, but he could not. He came out with a I would say a booklet, 70-80 pages. And the name of that gentleman, I was in Vadodara for a lecture, and I asked people, and this was subsequently published in newspaper Gujarat Samachar. I asked them, have you heard of the name of Daya Bhai Patel? And people were clueless, because who was Daya Bhai Patel? So Daya Bhai Patel was a member of parliament many terms, and he also happened to be Sardar Patel's only son. So Sardar Patel's only son did an inquiry into Lal Bahadur Shastri's death. He came out with a booklet in which he alleged that it is a murder, and he implicated the government of India in this thing. And this booklet since then has vanished from the Indian libraries. It's not to be found anywhere in this country. So luckily I was able to access a copy in America. So after Daya Bhai Patel, I am the one who picked up the cudgel, and then I was able to write a far more, because I have much more data available to me today. So I've done a proper inquiry into this case, and this book is there. Again, it's doing very well. It's on Amazon and Flipkart, and anybody who has interest in the Shastri case must read this book, because there's no other book which will tell you all theories and all the constructs in this entire case. Mind you, my books are to the point. They are, I don't want to name, for example, there have been books, claiming to tell you a lot about the Adolf Hitler's death and all that. But if you pick up the book, you will find that out of 12 chapters, 10 are dedicated to Hitler's life and times. Only in the last chapter you get some stray reference, and the whole book is titled about his death. No, so my books, Chandrachur and my books on Netaji death mystery, is totally about death mystery. It's nothing. It's not about life and times. Chandrachur has now written Netaji's separate biography, but then same with the Lal Bahadur Shastri, my book is not Shastriji's biography. The book starts from Tashkent, and tells you whatever happened from that time till art. The official government of India view that Lal Bahadur Shastriji died of a heart attack because he was in heart.
Yeah.
The counter view, which came from his family, especially his late Mrs. Lalita Shastriji, and his Shastriji's mother also, and others, the whole family supports, and so do many followers of Lal Bahadur Shastri, and the death was not natural. He was poisoned. It's a case of murder. Now, first we have to, make a determination whether or not which theory is true. Now, I find a lot of problems with the government version. Some of which are that the government of India lied in Parliament several times on different aspects. They should not have lied. Why should you lie on Parliament? For example, there was an allegation made about a certain cook, in parliament. Many parliamentarians, including those from the Congress party, talked about him. The government gave him a clean sheet when they should not have given him the clean sheet, because we know, eventually it came out that even Russians thought that this man had done something wrong. So when you have such a background, and this person was also arrested by the KGB and interrogated, the fact government of India tried to give him a clean sheet, that means there's something to hide. So there are multiple reasons whereby I think that the government has not been truthful. So that's one problem again. The second thing, as we all know, the post-mortem was not conducted, and there again I have a problem. The government statements are not they're tinged with suspicions, and all the same, whatever data which I could lay my hands on, the official data, I collected the information, and I also collected information coming from the other side, the family side. For example, you take the picture of Lal Bahadur Shastri's dead body in Tashkent, and then you provide the data. So I provide the data about his death. What did the doctors do? What kind of medicines were injected into his body? After he was no more, what did the doctors do? They try to preserve his body by again injecting something in his body. And then you show the picture of the dead body taken in Delhi after a couple of hours or probably a day, and these images are in color. And then you describe how the body was as seen by the family, what kind of cut marks, and body was stiff, it was bloated, and so on and so forth. Because don't forget, I'm not an expert. I'm a lay person like you. We are all journalists and researchers. We're not experts. And then I ran this, the note which I created through 10 forensic pathologists who people had experience of, doing post-mortems and then these kind of studies and toxicology, etc. All of them told me without blinking their eyes that this is a case of poison. So because there are a lot of controversial, this is a controversial matter, not everybody wants to be quoted publicly. So I have quoted 3 or 4 doctors in my book. So they have given their reason explanation. So on the basis of this data, I am convinced that the death as things stand today is not natural. So therefore the theory of the family stands. If you believe that the Shastriji did not die a natural death and that he was murdered or he was poisoned, then there are 3 different theories. The theory number 1 holds that he was killed by the Americans. In my book, I have demonstrated it is a cock and bull story. Essentially, we have in our country a mindset for which I have to pinpoint and blame the Congress party. They are the ones who are in the habit of putting the blames on the CIA for everything. Everything goes wrong. Americans are doing this thing. JP's movement was backed by American CIA. All the Indian Americans were CIA agents. Anna Hazare was CIA agent. So everybody is a CIA agent, but at the same time, their own children are living in America. By the way, don't forget that. You recall that Mumbai attacks happened. So Diggy Raja and his some friend chums were spreading this rumor, and openly that this was a handiwork of the CIA and Mossad and Ivy. God knows what world they live in, but they thought it was a joint operation of the RSS and the CIA, and at the same time, I'm sure Diggy Raja son was sitting in America. So this is a fault of the Americans that they ignore these things and they allow these children of such people to come and settle down their countries and live there. So this is a cock and bull story. It has nothing to stand on. The second theory, which has been talked about, that Russians killed him because Shastriji signed the Tashkent Accord under tremendous pressure, and probably he would have gone back and he would have, disowned it. So that is the idea Daya Bhai Patel is giving in his book. Well, I'm not going to believe it for 2-3 reasons. One is very obvious, natural, which was given by Lal Bahadur Shastri's wife also, that they won't do it something like this in their own home. And don't forget, there are 64 members from the Indian delegation, including our defense minister, our foreign minister, secretaries, basically virtually the entire top rung of the Indian government was sitting in Moscow. And there were the media from all over the world. Nobody would try and dare do this kind of mischief in their own country under so much of media glare. That will be suicidal. Second and most important thing, if I have done or anybody has done something wrong, we would try to cover it up. We see very clear signs Russians did not try to cover up. In fact, for instance, a very eminent member of Congress party made a statement in Parliament in 1966 when the issue was being discussed, and 70, that Russians suspected this was poison, and they offered a post-mortem, and it is government of India which denied. So then the government of the day said nothing of such sort happened. But later, after 30-40 years, we came to know it was true. So Russian actually offered post-mortem. He actually arrested the cook. So which brings me to the third theory. So there was an inside hand. So my misfortune is that I don't see anything wrong with the American side. I see nothing, in a sense that Russians, I don't blame them. But there is something hanky-panky, something wrong with the Indian side. Because for one, don't forget, we are the people who go all over the world and we keep talking about the virtues of non-violence and truth. So people who are, experts in telling the truth and expert in the art and craft of non-violence, they should answer this question when you were asked point blank in parliament whether or not Russians offered you postmortem. Why did you lie? So they offered you postmortem, you refused. So I have a problem right now. So there is something which happened within India as things stand today. I do not know. Tomorrow maybe something else will come up. And and again the problem is that the only way we can do something about this case, the approach would be probably similar, is to release Russians must have kept a huge thick dossier about the whole incident. Don't forget, Shastriji died in the country. The KGB was on the job after they did the inquiry, and they arrested the cooks and they did many things. So common sense, they must have maintained a thick dossier on the case. But you and I can't see the dossier because it is lying secret in Moscow. Now, who can access it? My government. So what we need to do is to my government. And don't forget, I keep repeating this thing. The government which stands for the truth and non-violence for the entire world, not just for our country. They should declassify their own papers first. I'm sure the IB must have done a proper inquiry about this case. Declassify your files. Don't give me the excuse which you keep giving for Subhash Chandra Bose, because you keep giving excuses. It was British era. Even though there's no difference, the government is same before and after. They were same Lal Bahadur running the government both sides on the 47. So you declassify your papers and then you ask Russians about their file. So in fact, the government of India is not doing it. So you don't get anything from Russian side. Why the government is not doing it? The problem the government is, if you open the Shastri case, Netaji case will be open. The Netaji case is the problem. Yeah. Netaji case is the problem for them. Not
because of them being interconnected, right?
Netaji is the problem with the Netaji case. It will, undo 70, 80 years of, the brand building will be undone. Yeah. And the people have everything to gain by this brand name. Because I would request you and your readers to go on Twitter and Facebook and social media, just go and observe. I can give examples of the kind of, things we talk about, this brand Gandhi, and you will laugh at yourself. I mean, to give example of my own Prime Minister, whom I otherwise support, Prime Minister Modi, either in Germany or Australia, he made a statement that, you can actually, by following the path of Mahatma Gandhi, you can even defeat terrorism. If that is the case, then why do we need Ajit Doval in Kashmir? Then we might as well send somebody from, the Congress party. There's so many eminent Gandhians sitting among us. So Diggi Raja is a very eminent Gandhian. So then let us send him to, Kashmir, and he will resolve the entire problem. If by following the Gandhian path, you can defeat terrorism, then what is the need for Ajit Doval to be in Kashmir? Ajit Doval is not a Mahatma Gandhi fan, as far as I know.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.